I can speak for our AE and certainly the board that we are tickled to see a crowd of this size. I believe a week or so ago when I registered, you said there were 3 seats open, and I believe we've had, after that, it was standing room only. So we certainly appreciate you being here, and we're glad you're here, and you know your time is valuable. I woke up long before January the 1st with the realization that my pants were really, really tight. So with that said, I hope all of you enjoyed your biscuits and your gravy, because I did not have it. But before we do get started, I'd like to recognize our special guest with us today. And I'm Mike Spicer. I'll be your 2020 president for the Northern Kentucky Association of Realtors. With us this morning, and the reason that we're here, we have Gary Moore, Boone County Judge Executive. Steve Pendry in the back of the room, Campbell County Judge Executive.
Oh, Steve.
Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive. Joe Pepper, Mason County Judge Executive. Drew Myers is with us this morning. He's our NAR political coordinator. Richard Wilson, he's our Kentucky Realtors Government Affairs Director, and I believe on Tuesday he was in Frankfurt hearing Senate Bill 11, which was being heard in the Senate License and Occupation Committee. Appreciate that. And with that said, we are well represented on that committee with House Chair Adam Koenig and Senate Chair John Schickel. And we have with us also this morning the Kentucky Realtors CEO, Steve Stevens. At this time, I would like all 2020 leadership NKAR class members to please stand. And I would like to recognize this morning John Stephenson. John has been in real estate for the short period of 50 years. Wow.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition to godly principles, and be sure and get a realtor if you're going to sell your house.
At this time, I would like to ask Lisa Bush to come forward for him.
Can you bow your heads? Father God, we thank you that we have this opportunity to come as a group and serve the community with their real estate needs. And Father God, at this time, we pray for all of our leaders, for our president, for our local leaders here in the state of Kentucky also. And we just pray that this year, that the forecast, that things are looking good. And we thank you, we praise you for the past of how you've blessed us as realtors, but help us to remember that we're here to serve the community and help us to be the best that we can be. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Ron Brossard, if you would lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, at this time, I would like to ask, in my opinion, the heart and soul of the Northern Kentucky Association of Realtors to come forward, our AE, Jimmy Wilson.
Thank you, Mike. I tried so hard not to have you say anything today. I think I need to let you know. So you may or may not be aware that on December 16th, the Kentucky Real Estate Commission revised some regulations, or there are revised regulations that became effective on December 16th. There is a section of the regulations that pertains to advertising that won't take effect until June 16th. So they they gave you a 6-month window to change all your marketing materials. There's a lot of changes, so it's something that you need to pay attention to. But this is what I want you to be aware of. So just this week, we uploaded the new agency forms and the new seller disclosure forms onto Instinet for your use. But I learned yesterday at the Kentucky Real Estate Commission that there are missing signature blocks, missing date blocks, and actually one of the agency forms is just flat out incorrect. That will be changed and uploaded to the commission site, hopefully by the end of next week. And as soon as they're updated and we have access to them, we will update the forms on AuthentiSign. However, they also passed a motion yesterday that if you use the new incorrect forms or the old forms until June 1st, you're okay. But moving forward from that point, if you are using a form and you are in violation, there will be no exception to that rule. So if you're currently using the old forms or the new wrong forms, it's okay until June 1st. But after that, you'll need to use the new forms. I'm not gonna go into all the rest of the reg changes because there are a lot, but we will send information out to you so that you have that information.
I think this is where I say, and now for the good news. This really is good news, and it's an honor to tell you all this. The Northern Kentucky Association of Realtors will once again be awarded the President's Cup for NAR for 2019.
Woo!
And what that means is we've met or exceeded our RPAC goal, our call for action percentage, our participation percentage, and our major investor goal. And I would like to certainly thank Veronica Dickerson. She's our Government Affairs Director, and also Jen Swindeman. She's our Governmental Affairs and RPAC Chair for leading this effort. This I'll have to read verbatim so I don't miss anything, and this is just for your information. You will be receiving a text message from NKAR either later today or early next week. This is a new way of communicating with our members and will only be used to communicate important information like an MLS system outage or other issues that are pertinent to your business or perhaps an important reminder of an upcoming deadline. We do not anticipate sending more than 2 text messages per month unless absolutely necessary, so please accept the text message when you receive it. If you do not receive the text message, an email will go out giving you the option to join. If you were here last year, you know that after all the speakers, the judge executives in particular, finished, we asked questions at the end. So what we're going to do today, when our speakers finish, that'll be a time for questions, and we certainly welcome all questions to our speakers here this morning. With that said, I would like to welcome Boone County Judge Executive Gary Moore to come up and give us his 2020 forecast from Boone County.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with you. I have been at the Kentuckians for Better Transportation Conference the last couple days, and it's in Lexington at the Hyatt. And I'm going to try to get back down there after this because the governor's speaking at noon, and we're hoping to hear some good news. So thank you again for having me. I may go a little bit longer today than I normally go because we've been working on some things that I think you need to be aware of and that I would love to have your input on. Just a couple of things as I think about here we are in 2020, and we've been focusing a lot on, a new year, but it's also a new decade. And we took a snapshot of what did the last decade look like in Boone County. Think about these numbers for just a moment. In 2010, our population was 118,000. Today, 133 or better, depending on which estimate you look at. So 118,000 to 133,000. Our tax base, in 2010, the tax base was $10.2 billion. Now that's what's assessed. So that's what the schools put their rate against, what the county puts its rate against, library, extension, so on. It was 10.2 billion, today it's 12.2 billion. With $2 billion of new growth and development come onto the tax rolls in the decade. The tax rate in January of 2010 was 10.2 cents on your residential real estate. Today it's 10.2 cents. So our budget's grown dramatically, more revenue because of payroll taxes, not on the backs of the homeowners and those that are paying real estate tax. So something important to you. Thinking about some major projects that happened during that decade, Arrow Parkway, right here by you. And think about the fact that if it weren't there, we probably wouldn't have Amazon Prime either. So Arrow Parkway was built during the decade. Single point urban interchange at 18 and Camp Arms. That was the worst intersection in the 12 county district. Remember the backups that used to happen there? There aren't any backups anymore. Our largest public infrastructure project in the county's history was the Western Regional Sewer Plant, built down at Bellevue Bottoms. Boone County was facing a dilemma of sewer capacity. The plant was built and the conveyance tunnel, about $150 million project. Well, actually 180 million it says. County debt, we had $50 million in debt at the beginning of the decade. Today we have 15. Apply those to 1.5. Just because of the size of the budget, we could have $300 million worth of debt if we push the envelope, but we have 15. So very little debt, very sound financially. We're the only AAA rated city or county in the state of Kentucky. Our bond rating in Boone County is AAA, and we're very proud of that. Our median household income, something else that's important to you all, $64,000 in 2010. Today, $77,696. So an increase of $13,000 on median household income. That's an increase of 21.4%. Unemployment rate, beginning of the decade, we've just come out of the recession, 08, all of the things that happened back then. It was 9.9% in January of 2010, 3.3% today, 1/3 exactly of what it was then. That's a decrease of 66.7%. So I just want to take a minute to kind of flash back and think about what a dramatic change in that 10-year period. It's a result, I believe, of the leadership that we have, not only in Boone County from our elected officials. It's not me alone. I can't do it without county commissioners and county attorney and county clerk and the sheriff and everybody else. So it's a team effort, but it's mainly the collaboration with Judge Pendry, Judge Knockelman, the 3-county regional collaboration, and of course we're always working with our ad district, with our neighbors to the south and other counties across the Commonwealth. So we do have some challenges. Think about some of the challenges we hit during that decade. Toyota left. Remember that when Toyota announced they were leaving? Toyota left with 1,200 high-paying jobs. 1,200. Everybody said, we're going to see a huge hole. We're going to have problems with our budget or problems selling houses. Because of the economic development that we're constantly doing and just the vibrancy of our community, we didn't really miss a beat. And Toyota left a great legacy behind in donating the building and the new Ignite Institute High School. So Toyota's still a partner in many ways. There's so many Toyota employees, and you may be a spouse of one. Many of them, everyone said they were going to leave. They love this area. They love Northern Kentucky. They're commuting to Georgetown, or they found other jobs, and we didn't see the really strong hit that we thought we might see. Shifting to today, a couple big projects we have going on is our 3-county regional communication system. We're doing a state-of-the-art 825 meg communication, digital communication. This will help all of our first responders. Firefighters, in many cases in these large buildings, could not communicate with each other inside the building once they went in. I mean, just the pure safety of that. Out in the rural parts of the county, we would have pretty large holes and lack of coverage with the radio system. So for all of our first responders, This is gonna be a huge, huge benefit. It's about ready to be turned on. As soon as the leaves get back on the trees, they'll test out everything to make sure that we get the penetration. They guaranteed us $20 million invested by the 3 counties in this system. Triad just retooled. We're calling the new Triad 2.0. We have a brand new team, top to bottom, personnel, policies, and things that we're working on there for future economic development. And many other things are going. So what are our greatest needs as we stand here today? Probably the greatest need we had 10 years ago when I was here. Roads, congestion, growth, what we're seeing, and I'm gonna talk more about that in just a second. Second on that list, I would say, is workforce. Our employers are continuing to tell us that they don't have the number, the quantity, or the quality of workers that they need to be able to continue to grow. And we see that with our economic development work and bringing new companies here. And third, housing. We need more housing. And to take that another step, we need more attainable housing. We need housing that people can afford. So, roads, I'll go back to that for just a moment. Right now around Boone County, it's hard to drive anywhere without seeing an orange barrel. And that's a pain, but it's also a sign of progress. We have about $250 million worth of road projects working as we sit here today. $250 million. The new interchange rebuilds at Richwood and Mount Zion are underway. Those contracts are streamlined, has to be finished by 2022. Graves Road, open, the construction is beginning, and projected opening of the first phase. Think about this, the diamond will be built and a connection to Worldwide, and we'll be driving on it as we sit here next year. That will be built this year. That would be a record in amount of time in getting a project from beginning not to end. That'll be phase 1. We still have the improvements to Graves and to other connectors there. But can you imagine, 1 year we'll be driving on that? But Graves is underway and going full speed ahead. Pleasant Valley Road, moving quickly. Regular Construction doing a great job down there. The one that didn't go so quickly, Mount Zion Road. By the way, that was the last project that is underway in Boone County that was bid the way that it was bid back when. Now it's a new system of how these projects are bid so that can't happen again. And but really, final touches happening now. Got landscaped in the spring, and it's basically finished. Many other projects. So I mentioned $250 million going now. We have another $200 million worth of needs that we're requesting in the upcoming budget, and that's why the governor's address today is so important. You're going to hear a lot about gas tax increase, and I know we don't like tax increases, but this is one that really needs to happen. I'll talk more about that in just a second. On that needs list, the next $100 million, top of the list, Mineola Pike. Rebuilding Mineola from the interchange to the tunnels as you go into the runway, under the runway. But it also has a piece that continues right down the fence of the airport to this intersection right here. Mineola Pike would intersect right here with Arrow Parkway. 4 lanes right up the fence. A spooey there, like the one at 18 Camp Ernst, with Donaldson and Mineola intersecting right next to the tunnels that go into the airport. So Mineola first. Next, the improvements to 18 from here, really from the interstate to Camp Ernst Road. New intersections possibly at Mall Road, Houston Road, Arrow Parkway on 18. That's why we're talking $200 million. Very expensive project. And some improvements to Turfway as well. Donaldson would be 5 lanes from the interstate out to the tunnel. So the needs are great, mega projects, and we have hope that those will get into the budget that we'll be seeing in the next few weeks in the state legislature. So in wrapping up, I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the opportunities we have. leadership is in place, I think, to continue to do great things, and you'll be hearing from some of the others today. The power of regional cooperation, I think, is a huge plus for it. But most of all, the support of groups like you that have our back when we have to make tough decisions. And gas tax is going to be one of those. We will need you supporting it. If you look at the revenues that are currently coming into the state coffers, there's just not enough to do what we need to do. I haven't even talked about the rebuild of the 275-75 intersection, which is now as much a bottleneck as the Brent's fence is. It needs a rebuild. Of course, the Brent's fence is looming. We need revenue, and the impact to the pocketbook of the homeowner, to each of you, to me, each time we fill up, wouldn't be as much as a lot of people would lead you to believe. Some are projecting it might be $90 a year if a 15-cent increase happened. You think more than that, but if you really think about it, what happens often is when a wholesale tax is put on fuel to pay for roads, it doesn't necessarily wind up at the pump. How many times have we seen that a gas price in Ohio and a gas price in Covington, and we're back and forth in this region, are the same? Sometimes Ohio is even less. Their gas tax is higher than ours. So where does that additional, I believe gas at the pump is priced by market, by what they can charge. So where's that difference going? That difference, I believe, goes to the station owner, to the fuel company, and to the fuel refineries. They're gonna charge what they can charge. It's market driven. So I think I would rather see those monies put into the road fund to build our roads and maintain the ones we have now than into the pockets of the oil companies. And so we're gonna advocate for the gas tax increase. And again, I think it's a great expenditure for the reward we'll see. I'm gonna pause there and wait for your questions. Sorry to the others that I took so much time.
Gary, thank you very much. At this time, I would like to call forward Campbell County Judge Executive Steve Bender.
Well, I'll tell you what, each one of the judge executives is thinking when we're sitting here. It's really a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to talk about our counties, each one being more important than the others. And it's really sporting of you, and it's probably the Northern Kentucky idea practice to invite those other counties and listen to what they have to say as well. So, you know, Campbell County goes to the fore, and it's really nice that everybody else gets to pitch in as well. We each think that, and we're each pretty ferocious in advocating for our counties, and yet we all know that the truth of the matter is the dividing lines between counties don't make one whit of difference to our customers, the taxpayers. Where Northern Kentucky lives and dies as a whole. Together, we are a bigger metropolitan area than Lexington, right? You used to thinking of us that way? We're the second largest metropolitan area in the state, and you know, allow me my chauvinism, we're also the most important metropolitan area in the state, right? So, I really like what Gary had to say, and he covered some ground that we each otherwise would want to touch upon. I want to go through a list of things that are happening in Campbell County. I'm not sure how many of these projects have reached the top of mind for all of you, so I'm gonna go through them. Each of us as judge executives and as county staff, we hope for balance in the types of projects that we have and the geographic distribution in our counties. And so I want to touch on a few things that show that we're getting the kind of spread and diversity that we need. Newport on the Levee was recently acquired by North American Properties. Why is that a project to me? Well, North American Properties wants to reimagine that property and invest about $100 million in its future. It's instead of having an absentee landlord there, a benign influence, but not a great force in the community. We've got people that are invested in the local community. North American Properties is a Cincinnati-based thing, and right on their doorstep, they have this wonderful development that they're gonna make sure is top shelf. It reflects directly upon them. Further south at NKU, phase 1 of NKU's Town Center project, a 65,000 square foot medical building, is nearing completion. And in the spring, on the other side of the road, and again, at the entrance to the university, there's a $100 million package of things, 4 buildings, a hotel, retail and restaurants on the first floor of these buildings, and apartments and offices up above. That's a nice thing to have happen a little further out in the county. In and around Alexandria, there are about 1,000 home sites being readied. A good example being Arcadia, which currently has, I think, 540 units built, only a few years after they opened, and they have capacity for another 500 units at that one site. So that's further yet out in the county. Again, what I'm trying to illustrate here with just 3 examples, we've got a mix of types and a geographic distribution that is very useful for the future of the county. My very favorite thing that's going on is the Ovation Project. I know that we've been talking about it for years, and it was once forecast to be $1 billion project, and then the Great Recession came along, and things were in a hiatus. Don't you love the whole narrative that some developers were in Cincinnati working on a music venue for 6 years and got nowhere, and then about that many months on the Kentucky side, they came to a deal and started building. There are something like 800 piers that have already been poured, and to build a platform that the new music venue will rest upon, and Cincinnati's still talking about it. The Ovation Project, in large part, and this was the original thought, is benefited by the Route 9 extension. You think about Greater Cincinnati, and in fact, lots of big cities in the area, there aren't too many of them that have 100 to 200 acres of redevelopable real estate within the urban core. And you've got the IRS site in Covington, you have the Ovation site in Newport, and everything along the Route 9 corridor that's been extended into Newport, and from there to downtown Cincinnati. Brand new 4-lane highway going right through the heart of the urban area in northern Kentucky, available for redevelopment and development. I like that. While we're talking about Newport, they've really got it going on. The former Baptist home in Newport is being converted into a 45-unit condo complex. The Academy on 4th Street used to be the 4th Street School. That's high-end apartments, 200 of them, and ground floor retail. The World Peace Bell site in Newport is going to become an office building, a hotel, and some retail with a parking garage. There's lots more going on there, but I want to go back out to the city of Alexandria. They have a new development, about a 70-acre site that will include commercial sites and apartments that still in the drawing books. They're voted on it here in about a week, 2 weeks. Summer Lake is nearing the end of its build out at 193 homes. They have a new development called Timber Creek that's slated for 160 homes. So lots of residential development going on around Alexandria. Bellevue and Dayton are in on the act. There's a thing called Kent Lofts in Bellevue, which is a redevelopment of a 1930s era warehouse and manufacturing site. There's 60 apartments there. Manhattan Harbor and Dayton continues to grow. There are 2 enormous apartment complexes that are nearing completion there. And I gotta tell you that most of these projects that I'm talking about are taking place in cities that issue their own permits, so that's off to one side there. Where the county does permitting, mostly in the unincorporated area and a few of the smaller cities, In the last 11 months, we've issued 1,335 building permits for about $100 million in construction value. And so aside from the things I started by telling you, there are these other scattered projects out in the county that are underway. I really like the priorities that Gary outlined, switching gears here into the present and the future. The workforce thing and the housing thing are a big problem. We have microscopic unemployment rates, that's true, but did you know that we have an incredibly high workforce participation rate? So out of all of able-bodied people of a certain age out there, a very high percentage of them are already working in Northern Kentucky. We're 7 to 9 points on average higher than workforce participation rate in the rest of the state. Think about that. And 3 to 4 points generally higher than the average in the United States. So what does this tell you upon mature reflection? It says that we got a demographic issue. There literally are not enough people to take the jobs that we have on offer in Northern Kentucky. And you all need to sell homes, that's true. We need to import folks to take the jobs that are being grown in Northern Kentucky. We gotta start thinking that way. This is not a matter of our kids looking at us and saying, you know, I'm gonna move someplace else exciting, and Cincinnati is kind of boring. We all probably have heard that from our kids. They do move back, by the way, and have a look. But the people that we need were not born here, and we need to go out and get them, attract them to this area. It shouldn't be hard to do. We've got an amazing amount to offer. I'm going pretty fast here. I did that on purpose because I know your time is limited, and there are other people that need to hold forth on these subjects. I really appreciate the invitation to be here, and I'll stick around to answer questions with my friends. Thank you very much.
Well, I was born and mostly raised in Campbell County, and I can remember a time when my family lived on Johns Hill. Northern consisted of one building and a bunch of trailers, and I can also remember when Johns Hill Road was uninterrupted by a bridge. So Campbell County, very important in Northern Kentucky. Steve, I'm glad that you made that statement about being the second largest metropolitan area in the state. We're going to convene in Lexington this next month. We'll make that fact known. I'm very proud of that. So at this time, I would like to call up Grant County Judge Executive Chuck Bill to let us know what's going on in Grant County.
Thank y'all for having me. It's hard to follow two great judges coming from, as judge executive in rural county, a lot smaller budgets. But I feel like we have a lot going on. This is my first term, so this is the first year, actually last week, of being in office as judge exec. My last 30-year career was law enforcement. I spent 13 of it as the county sheriff. So I knew about county government. I'm just playing a different role. Now I'm in a position now to make a difference and try to take the county in the right direction. And that's what, I've got a great fiscal court that's wanting to do it. We've put a lot of things together. A lot's happened in the last year. I walk into office with $1.5 million in road slippages in my lap. So I had to deal with that immediately before I could fix anything on the infrastructure that needed fixed. So after we got the road slippages fixed, we were able to reach out to the governor's office, receive close to $1 million in funds to pave roads. We've repaved roads that hadn't been paved in 20 years. So a lot of the rural area where a lot of these houses that are selling have new roadways. We've worked on several things for security in the county because our residents that live there commuting to Boone and Campbell and Kenton County, we're more of a bedroom community. So we're trying to meet with some contractors to get some residents built in some of our existing subdivisions and new development going on in our county. What we have experienced that's different with a lot of counties is Airbnbs. I know in some of the counties like Jefferson County, larger counties, Airbnbs may be looked and frowned upon. But in our county, we have 75 Airbnbs right now. When I took office, I quickly discovered our county didn't have an ordinance pertaining to Airbnb. So I was able to put an ordinance in that cut out red tape for people to start Airbnbs, but also protected the homeowners that were neighboring to these Airbnbs. So we've got some restrictions on them protecting that. With that, it brings revenue to our county because it's raised the assessments on these properties, because most of the Airbnbs in our county were dilapidated properties. So they've taken rundown residents that run down our assessments, and now have fixed those residents up where our residents are making money off of these Airbnbs, plus it's improved the view of the street of the property. We had some that, had foundation problems, just appearance, working on it, so it's been a great thing for our county. Also, we established and working on a better ordinance on our nuisance ordinance. In our rural areas, in a lot of counties, not just ours, you have a lot of dilapidated properties, they have a lot of stuff in their yards. Well, I'm starting to get more calls than ever, because being in law enforcement 30 years, I would have still got those calls. But I think it's because people are building nicer properties, they're investing in their land, so now they're looking to fix up the neighbors. And it gets touchy, and the judge execs know, it's hard to govern other people's property. And I'm not for big government, I'm for smaller government, but also, the way I live is not the way someone else lives. So it's real fragile, but I've got a good court that's working with me, trying to get those issues fixed. Also, as a resident, you try to struggle with the budget you have. We need to get new roadways in with our infrastructure, but also we gotta keep our people in our county. So we've done that with the parks. We just added an 18-hole disc golf that's state-of-the-art. It's been rated already as one of the nicest ones in the area. So we put that in the Grand County Park. Also, I'm able to put in security cameras in the park to make people feel more comfortable when they're walking in our parks, that we have security in the parks to protect them, but also it's protecting our infrastructure. As previous law enforcement, that was sort of a background that, we discovered our parks were getting damaged by vandalism. Since it's been put in, we've had 3 incidents. We've caught all 3 of them. They've been minor, but it's slowed down vandalism in our parks because now they're secured, and the people that are living in the subdivisions walking in the parks feel more comfortable and secure. So, that's some of the things we have going on. We're not, as of right now, no major road projects. Building roads, it's mainly maintaining the infrastructure we have, to add beauty to our community. So I want to thank you all for having me, and if you have any questions afterwards, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call up front Joe Pepper. He is the Judge Executive in Mason County.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here, and I want to introduce someone I brought up with me, and that's our Economic Development Director, Owen McNeil. He's been on board with us for about 2 years. We work together on a daily basis, and I don't know where else you could come meet the godfather of real estate and an old friend, Jim Shack. Good to see you. Mason County, we have a lot going on. We are extremely busy. We are a county that likes to associate ourselves with Northern Kentucky. The recent.
Where is Mason?
We are